Hello, my dears INFJ Entrepreneurs. Welcome back to another video, or if you're listening to this one on the podcast, welcome back to the podcast. Today we are very festive. If you're watching it, you can see I'm wearing a very red hoodie, which is already too much color that I usually wear. I like to wear black and white. But today we are going to talk about how to stop being an NPC in your life. Now, if you don't know what NPC means, NPC stands for non-playing character. Non-playing characters are, in video games, the characters that are not playing. They are sat in one spot. They are not moving. They are maybe the ones that you go and have conversations with to get your mission, or they are owners of stores that you can buy from in the game. But non-playing characters are not playing. So they don't have abilities, they don't have skills, they don't have to go on missions. They are just like static characters. And I want to take this non-playing character from video games analogy to life. And I want to ask you if you ever felt like an NPC. I know I did, especially when I was still in law school studying to become a lawyer. And I actually went to my second year of master's where I decided to stop. And I only had maybe 6 months left, but I just couldn't get myself to go to classes anymore. I was already halfway deep into marketing route. I was already like pivoting, but I didn't really make a decision to really fully go for something. And I remember I was still at university, and doing the classes, I would disassociate. I would start reading a book, or I would pull up a book on my laptop and I would just read that book, and I would just grab my phone to record the lecture so I can re-listen later. But it took me a while to really step into the freedom of taking responsibility and also taking ownership of the trajectory of my life, which was heading to become a lawyer, which is not bad if you think about it. It's still somewhat an entrepreneur's route, right? Because then you become a lawyer, you open your own office, and it's still like that route, but it just didn't feel like that's aligned to me. That's not for me. That's how I felt like. And I felt there was an ego part of me that kind of wanted to just finish things and impress my parents so that I can call myself a lawyer. And I was like, oh, that title sounds really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and pursue it. But then I got to the point of complete misalignment that I just couldn't get myself to go to class. I couldn't get myself to do anything extra, and I couldn't get myself to finish. And I remember before I would think of my life, as someone who had some kind of control over it. Like I knew, like, oh, I'm just gonna finish school. Like everyone else is doing school. Everyone else is just like so invested in this lawyer stuff. Like all my classmates around me were like planning their, lawyer things and like what they want to become, specifically what type of lawyers. And I was having conversations with them, and I just felt like, oh, that's not for me. Like that sounds really good for you, but it's just not for me. But I didn't feel like I was ready to walk away from all of that at the time. After that, I was like, yep, I'm out of here. That's not for me. Thank you. No, thank you. And then I went ahead to start my business after I ended up working summer jobs at other sales, opportunities that I had found at a time. And I went on full-blown entrepreneur mode, which I already had clients at the time, and it was really easy for me to go full into this profession of business ownership, but then business ownership on my own terms, which was business, growing, marketing, creative expressions. I think that was that for me. But it was hard. It was hard because I had to let go of pleasing my parents. I have to let go of my own ego, of like where I'm going. And especially at the time, I wasn't making a lot of money, right? So I had to let go of that judgment coming from my parents, which was awful. And but I stopped being a non-playing character, and that was so liberating to me. Because for the first time, I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm in control. I'm steering the ship now. Like um, I'm not like taking by the current, which I felt studying in school at the time to become a lawyer was like me being on a current that was taking me to somewhere I didn't know if I want to go. I was too scared to make a decision to really step out of it. And yeah, I felt that way. But I think it was so important for me to kind of wake up from that and realize that I was living a life that was not meant for me. And I'm sure maybe some of you guys have felt this way, that you're living a life that is not meant for you. Or some of you guys are feeling it right now, that you are living a life that is not meant for you. And you question yourself, like, why am I not playing? Why am I an NPC? Why am I not taking responsibility for where is this going? And sometimes, and I had conversations with Venzi specifically when we were talking about this, and she brilliantly expressed that, how she went from having a secure job to very slowly then transitioning into her full-time business, how she didn't want to be financially insecure in something that wasn't, making money, and how she was filming in weekends and then slowly transitioning into full-time entrepreneurship. And I think that's awesome way to do it. That's an awesome way to do it. And I'm so grateful that I got the whole student route that was backing me up in a way to then slowly, even during classes, I was studying something else, I was learning something else, so slowly transitioning and then stepping into where I really wanted to stir myself. So one of the main reasons why I think people find themselves in the NPC route, in the non-playing character route, and feeling like, okay, I'm just drifting, I have no control over my life, I don't know where I'm going. It's the reason why we are stuck in it, and it actually feels like you're stuck in it. It's because of a psychological phenomenon called learned helplessness. So what learned helplessness is basically when there's, I'm going to tell you like the experiment behind it. So they would put like a mouse in a cage, and every time the mouse was going to the other side of the cage to grab the food, it got like electrocuted, right? So what the mouse learned, that every time I go to that part of the cage and gonna get the food from there, I'm going to get electrocuted. So they learn not to go there. So that is a perfect example of learned helplessness. Another example of learned helplessness is that when circus elephants, when they are small, they would put the chains in their legs. Like they would be like literally putting the chains in their legs when they were small. And when they were trying to like move, they would like, oh, I'm too small, I can't move. My legs are stuck, right? And even when they grow bigger, and that time they're powerful enough to move the chain and actually break it, they don't try, because at that age, at the early age, they learned that I don't have the power. Even though it's an all grown up elephant now, what they learned at the time is that I can't move. I can't. I'm too weak. I can't. Right? But this time you can. But you just don't try anymore because you learned that you shouldn't try. So I think, at least for me, it was partially learned helplessness and a little bit of around a lack of confidence in my own skills, which if you guys have the same kind of hold back around it, I want you to think about how maybe that's the case for you, that you are just a baby elephant, or you are thinking you're a baby elephant, but really you're much more powerful, or you're thinking that you're the mouse who wants to go get the treat, but you will get burned before, so you are thinking, I don't have to try anymore. And I think, and I don't want to go into this route to like blame parents, because I don't think parents, they don't understand maybe at the time that that's kind of what they sometimes instill in their own child. And also some of these parents, they also helpless themselves, right? They are also in this victim helplessness side type of scenario. So some of them, not all of them, but some of them, they can be. So I'm not blaming that on them, but I also want you guys to be taking full responsibility as an adult now and looking at parts of your life that you're not happy with, and look at which degree you are taking personal responsibility for those things. At which part of those areas are you an NPC? Because sometimes, we talked about rejection just last week. So if you have missed that video, I'm going to put it somewhere here. But sometimes it's just that you're so afraid to be rejected that you just reject yourself, that you don't even try, you self-reject. So I think that's the worst thing. And I think it's better to just go and try playing and be in charge than to be in this NPC mood. And I'm like, nope, I'm not playing, I'm just drifting. So I guess the message for today is to help you and encourage you to take responsibility for the things that you want for your life. And I hope this was helpful and you guys will stop being NPCs and start playing. It's actually so much fun if you play. It's so much fun. So go ahead and try to stop playing. Let me know in the comments below what is some goal that you are going to be taking some serious actions in 2025. And then if you haven't joined our INFJ Entrepreneurs community, we would love to see you on our virtual hangout, see your face, get to know you. Please join our community. It's completely free. We meet every single month. And I can't wait to personally conversate with you and speak with you there. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And don't forget to drive over fear, progress over perfection. Bye, guys.